Hi, everyone. I'm incredibly excited to be here. Thanks, MasterCard, first of all, for making all this happen. Once we've seen all this presentation, it just makes me excited of how many innovations are happening right now in the payment industry and over like how connected our world is going to be in the next 5 years. And I do believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, you're the experts here, but the payment industry and the banking industry is so much ripe for change and disruption at this point that there is so much opportunity going on now. And I do believe that Latin America is going to be a key part of that change, and it's going to help tackle the biggest challenges that we have faced in the past few decades. That said, I would like to go back, take a step back, and see what are the opportunities that we do have right now and the challenges that we do have right now in order to solve them, and just transform entire industries. And Uber is an example of how we can transform together the transportation industry. So, the reason why I'm here is because I want to sell you an idea. Just one idea, just one simple idea. And that idea is that if we work together, we can disrupt the transportation industry in a more profound way in the next 5 years that that industry has changed in the past 50. If banks, payment networks, and technology companies work together, we can really achieve that change. And it's just that. That idea that we can achieve a very profound change in a very short period of time through collaboration, that's the only thing that I want to get through today. Going back to the presentation that we saw yesterday from Gilberto, he mentioned that one of MasterCard's goal is to have 500 million Latin Americans financially included by 2020. But one of the big challenges that we do have is that 91% of all transactions in the region are made with cash. That's just crazy. 91% transactions, think about that. More than 9 out of 10 transactions in the whole region are made with an inefficient and expensive payment method. Now, Gilberto, if you're around here, we're with you. We're definitely with you. We want to be a part of that change. We want to be a part of that goal. And we're fully bought into that idea. And again, we believe that through close collaboration among banks, payment networks, and tech companies, we can definitely and fundamentally change the way the payment industry looks in Latin America in the next few years. We believe that Uber, our company, is uniquely positioned to help accelerate those changes for a simple reason. And that reason is that people, not only in Latin America, but around the world, have adopted Uber into their everyday lives and into their everyday activities. It has become so simple to just push a button, get a ride, and move around your city. And of course, we do have a lot of challenges ahead of us, which I'll mention, and they're hard problems for us to tackle. But, more than problems or challenges or hard facts that we have to face, we're super excited that there are more like opportunities and just this blue ocean that we have in front of us to really realize, it's just that, one idea. Let's work together. Let's work closely together, banks, payment networks, and tech companies to win a $3 trillion market right now that is basically invisible to us, or was basically invisible to us up to a few years ago. Now, for those of you who don't know what Uber is, I'm just going to give the quick overview. We're a technology company, and we focus on connecting people who want to get from point A to point B with people just like us who want to make an additional income and want to give them that ride. We achieve this through a smartphone app, and it's actually a very simple idea, and that's kind of the beauty and why we're so excited about this idea. That's fairly simple, and it wasn't born out of a grand vision. It was just a simple idea, which was, we all face this problem every single day, which is, I want to move around my city in an affordable, efficient, and reliable way. And so a little bit more than 5 years ago, our founders were basically stranded in the streets of Paris in the middle of a January night, freezing cold, and they just couldn't get a ride. They just couldn't go back to their hotel. So they were desperate, and they thought to themselves, it would be awesome if you could just push a button and get a ride. And so that idea stuck with them. They went back to San Francisco, started working on that idea, hired a couple of guys, developed a minimum viable product, and then started making a few calls. When they made those calls and 7 out of 10 people thought their idea was ridiculous, they knew they were onto something. And the reason I'm saying that 7 out of 10 is actually a pretty good number, if people, 10 out of 10 don't think you're crazy. So today, that simple idea and that simple thought of just pushing a button and getting a ride still sticks, and it's still a core focus, which is, again, just push a button and get a ride. This simple idea can mean so much more when you realize the time you're saving every single day in your life by just pushing that button. It just changes the game entirely by realizing how much anxiety you avoid by not having to go through a traffic jam every single day. And it changes everything when you are able now to go out at night in a more easier and reliable and safe way by just pushing a button. No risks, no drunk driving, a lot of positive impact there. Now, sorry guys. Now, as we've grown from one city a few years ago, which was San Francisco, to 361 cities and 66 countries around the world, we're realizing that there's so much more that we can do. And we can do so much more by empowering cities and its citizens through technology. Such a simple solution like our smartphone app at scale can do so many changes and help tackle complex problems like pollution and congestion. Just think about Uber Pool, which is a product that is now available here in Miami. Uber Pool is basically the same Uber experience, but now instead of only being able to get an affordable and reliable ride, you have the option to share that ride with someone else who's going in the same direction as you are. And then, as you share that ride, then you split the cost and it becomes even more affordable. The best part of this and the side effect is that you're actually taking cars off the road and you're curbing emissions. And if you scale that enough, you actually will be reducing pollution in all our cities. And think about that for a second. That has never happened any time in history. Like, pollution and carbon emissions have gone up and up and up every single year. And with this, through technology, by putting this digital layer in cities, we can definitely help change that. So again, that's fantastic. That definitely just blows my mind. Now, talking about Latin America. Latin America has been incredible for us. The beauty of cities and the beauty of our technology is that, every single city in the world has very similar problems. They all face similar issues like, again, congestion, pollution, but our technology can be adapted to serve the specific needs of those markets. In Latin America, we currently operate in 9 countries and 21 cities. But the interesting part about this is that this is just the start. There are over 60 cities in Latin America with more than 500,000 people. These people have to go out every day to live their lives and move around. We actually together can serve all those people. Again, going back to the 500 million number, we can serve all those people if we work together. They're going to go out every day. They're going to adopt Uber into their lives. We can definitely take that opportunity and seize that huge opportunity that's right in front of us. And we definitely have a way to provide magical experiences every single day for our customers. And the side effect of this is that we can enable financial inclusion. So how does that look for Uber in Latin America? As of now, since we started, more than 2.4 million people across Latin America have taken a ride with Uber. Furthermore, we have been able to create more than 108,000 economic opportunities for our partner drivers. And the main difference, this is very insightful and this is very important because, the main difference from our model in the US is that the impact for our partner drivers is huge. And what I'm talking about is that 70% of our partner drivers in Mexico go into the formal economy for the very first time. So, they were invisible. Like they didn't pay taxes, they didn't have access to credit, they didn't have access to any financial product. 70% of them are going into that economy to the formal economy for the first time. That means they get to pay taxes for the first time, they get more access to credit, and overall, they get more and more opportunities to better provide for their families. Now, This is all positive, this is all good news, good story, but there is so much ahead of us, as I mentioned, and we do have a few challenges. And this probably might be somewhat obvious to all of us, but I think it's worth mentioning that if we work together and through the technological changes that are happening right now, we can aggressively tackle these problems, these challenges, and change entirely how the industry, the payments, banking, transportation industry looks in Latin America in the next few years. First of all, we have inclusion. Again, you're probably all familiar with this slide, but I mean, it's always worth remembering what a huge opportunity we're missing out on. This means that 2 out of 3 Latin Americans are relying on cash to do every single transaction that they have to do every single day. They might have a bank account, probably half of them, but they definitely don't have an efficient way to deploy those resources into any merchant, online or offline. I mean, let's not talk about e-commerce at this point. Let's talk about grocery shopping. They still rely on cash. I mean, we need to change that, and we need to make it easier for them. Of course, that has a big impact on a rider sign-up form. I mean, right now we lose 1 out of 3 people that want to sign up with Uber because they just don't want to put a payment method into our app. What does this mean, and why I'm highlighting this specific column is because, first of all, they were able to download an app with their smartphone. They were able to create an email account, and they were willing to give that email account and phone number to a smartphone app. So what that means is that they trust technology enough. I mean, they trust technology, they use technology, and they trust technology enough to give a phone number and email address. But then they stop. Why do they stop? I mean, I guess our job, like all these people in this room, our job is to find out why is the reason behind that, educate consumers, work with them, talk to them, listen to them, and then gain their trust. Because something's going on here. We're not sure why, but that's probably why we're here, to find out why. And then we have the acceptance rate. I mean, William yesterday from Microsoft mentioned that every time he went out and on travel, he got his credit card declined, and eventually that company lost his business. That is actually very true. It's one of the most frustrating experiences ever. If we actually, I mean, every single time we reject a credit card, even once, we have a chance of losing 5% of that people. Again, if we're talking about the 500 million figure, that's like losing all of Mexico City together. 25 million people, that's just crazy. And again, it's small details, it's only 5%, but it has a huge impact on the experience of how people perceive payments and online payments and cashless payments. Furthermore, 1 out of 4 Latin Americans that want to sign up with Uber and that want to ride with Uber just can't. I mean, they just can't because their payment methods get declined. And I mean, what does this mean? That simple words, we're not letting them. Banks are rejecting the payment methods. We're not finding ways to make that experience more seamless, easier, and just more reliable. And of course, we all know that there are a ton of issues at hand, and there are a ton of problems, and there are a ton of reasons we're just doing this. But I do believe that it is our job, of all the people in this room, to understand what those problems are and fix them in order to be able to provide the best experience to our customers and provide with this magical experience, and that they just feel that it's magic. You know, we truly believe that people are ready to jump into more sophisticated payment alternatives, but we need to make it easier for them. We need to work harder in order to prevent fraud. We need to get more sophisticated, and at the same time, we need to get less risk-averse. Because if we're thinking about the risk that we're facing, we're just going to continue missing on that huge opportunity that we have in front of us. Now, I'm excited about this slide. So now, all those challenges are, let's say, the negative part of what's in front of us. But, I mean, we see those as opportunities, and we are super pumped about what's next and what those challenges represent. Because, I mean, just think about this slide that 2 years ago, and if you exclude the airline industry, we're seeing basically 0 transactions on the transportation market. 0. Banks and payment networks were seeing 0 transactions in the transportation industry. 2 years later, Uber and its competitors are bringing about 10 million transactions a month of transportation, and this is less than 1% in the whole transportation market in Latin America. Less than 1%. I mean, just see how much we have to grow and how exponential that change is going to be. I mean, this is just insane. If you think about what we can achieve in the next 5 years, if you think about that, by working together, we can provide an experience so magical that people will start getting rid of their cars and change that spending, which is insurance, maintenance, spare parts, into their credit cards and hopefully into Uber rides. It's just going to change the whole game. We're just going to capture so much more of a market that's been there for decades, and we haven't seen any of it. I mean, this is going to fundamentally change in the next 5 years, and again, we definitely want to be a part of that. And it's going to change very, very fast. And I think, I assure that with your help and with our close cooperation, in a few years, your 5-year-old kids will find that buying a car is as old-fashioned as we find currently buying a CD. It's just going to be a thing of the past. People are just going to buy their car because they just think it's cool, but they weren't really going to need them. So, there we have it. We're incredibly excited about the future. We're incredibly excited about what's going on in Latin America, and we're very much looking forward to celebrating all of our cities together with you. We do have a lot of challenges ahead. It's as basic as getting more payment methods across, accepting more of those payment methods, and just figuring out what do the customers and Latin American people want of us. But that sort of challenges just get us incredibly excited. And we do believe that 91% cash transaction number that Gilberto gave yesterday will probably become 50, 40% in the next few years once we meet again here in Miami. This is going to be the future. We're super excited. The future is going to change very, very fast. Technology and software will change fundamentally how we perceive and interact with the physical world. And we definitely want to be a part of that. And we invite you that we work together to be a part of that. So, last but not least, this is the idea that I wanted to sell. There's a huge market right in front of us. It's a $3 trillion market worldwide, over 350 million transactions every single month, and growing in Latin America. So, and people still will have to move around their cities every single day, every single time, at any given point in history. So, if we work together to tap these opportunities, to tackle these challenges together, and we start trusting technology, innovating, and educating our consumers, and furthermore, and more importantly, listening to them, and focusing on providing the most magical experience possible, I think that there's a lot that can be done. So, I guess that's it for today. Thank you very much.